Hi everybody! It's the end of the month, so it's time to look back on all the pictures I coloured during April of 2023. I'm going to start with this one, which is Colouring Heaven Collection Vintage Costume, designs by Jasmin Darnell. This is the first one that I coloured at the start of the month when this issue first came out, and I couldn't resist colouring in it as soon as I got it, so this is the first one I started on. And this is, just a marker base. As you can see there, a bit of a marker base going on, and I just shaded on top with my normal pencils. And I did make myself a tiny little bit of a challenge with this one, in that I picked this colour for the background just randomly with my eyes closed out of the bag of markers, and I came up with that colour and then worked the colour palette kind of around the background colour, which was a little bit of a challenge, but yeah, it seemed to work out quite well. The rest of it, marker base, pencil shading, there's some white gel pen around these lacy bits on her collar, around her dress and on her hat. This piece of her dress here, that's actually paper collage, which is cut out of the paper and then stuck onto the picture and just shaded a little bit on top, because there was some kind of a pattern on this part of her dress here that I didn't really feel like colouring at the time, so I just collaged over it as I like to do. And yeah, I think that worked out quite well. The colours kind of went in with my colour scheme, so yeah, pretty happy with how that one came out, and it was really nice to colour. That is Vintage Costume Colouring Heaven Collection, designs by Jasmin Darnell. This next one is from The Way Home Colouring Book by Morgan O'Brien, and this is a book that I would like to finish at some point in the future, so I'm going to try and do at least one picture from this book every month. And I got around to doing one of them this month, which is this one here. And this one is mainly done with the Astra Pastelo pencils, which I wanted to try out on this paper, and they do work really well. The colours are pretty pale though, so for these trees in the background I used my Castle Arts and Arteza just to have a bit more of a stronger colour, but there was some really nice kind of blue turquoise colours that I used for the snow, and there's some white gel pen there to outline for the outlines on the snow. Lots of glitter, you can see there, that's the Dovecraft glitter glue in crystal on the snow, ground and on the trees. The creatures themselves, they're actually called Vorptex, according to my son, who's really big on Star Wars, so he's told me what all these little creatures in here are called. They're called Vorptex, and they're kind of white, sort of snow dog, snow wolf sort of creatures, so I've coloured them in the right kind of colours and outlined them with silver gel pen, just to separate them from the snow a little bit, but still keep them that kind of icy sort of feeling going on. And these stickers in the background I found in a charity shop. I think they're actually window stickers or wall stickers, and they're really glittery as well, and I thought that would really look quite cool in the background, fill up that empty space a little bit. So yeah, there we go, a little baby Yoda. I've given him little rosy cheeks and a little red nose because he's sitting out there in the snow and the cold. I think he's ended up looking really cute. So yeah, there we go. That's from The Way Home by Morgan O'Brien. Next we have another Colouring Heaven. This is Gods and Goddesses special by Jash, and this is one of my Earth Day themed pictures that I did this month. Here we go. This is the goddess Gaia, who's goddess of the earth, so I thought she was quite fitting for doing for Earth Day. And for her I used marker base for quite a few bits of it there for her skin and hair and the background of these leaves. For the rest I based it in watercolour. All the leaves are based in watercolour and just shaded a little bit on top with my normal pencils, Castle Arts and Arteza. White gel pen for the highlights as usual, and to go around these flowers. These mushrooms are just pencil, no marker base on there. I used a little bit of white gouache paint to go around here and make the clouds for the earth. And for the background of behind these plants, I kind of shaded on top of the marker a little bit and made this sort of bokeh effect background, which isn't too obvious. I think that works quite well. It doesn't really distract from any of the other kind of foliage or anything that's going on there. I did actually change this caterpillar a little bit, actually, I have to admit that, because he looked really kind of cartoony and he wasn't really fitting in with the rest of the picture. Well, to me it didn't seem as if he was, so I changed him a little bit, made him a little bit more realistic. Well, at least I hope I did. I made him a little bit more realistic, and yeah, I think that's worked quite well. She really fitted in with my theme of Earth Day, and yeah, that was a really fun one to do. So there we go. That one is from Jash. Colouring Heaven, Gods and Goddesses special. This next one is a freebie download from Christine Karen called Sweet Temptation, and this is actually for a challenge on one of the colouring groups I'm in on Facebook. It's called Colour It In Challenges Facebook group, and I will link that down in the bottom in case anyone's interested in seeing that. But this is for a challenge for last month, for April, and we were provided with 4 different freebies from different artists that we could download and use for the challenge. And what we had to do was colour the picture in the colours of a traffic light, which is red, amber and green. So this is my attempt at that challenge. She's mostly marker based, just shaded on top with the pencil. This background here is chalk pastel. A couple of layers, different colours of green chalk pastel, and anyone who's seen my video on how I use paper collage will recognise this picture because her top is collage from 2 different colours of paper collage there, and this part of her top there is where I cut out the space in the actual picture and stuck the paper behind, as you can see there. And this red part of her collar, her bow, is where I traced off the space onto the paper, then cut it out and stuck it back on top, which isn't quite as accurate, but yeah, it's each method I use for its own little place, I think, and I really love how that one turned out. I was a bit adventurous and actually used red to shade her skin, and I think that's turned out really well. I was given a kind of suntan sort of skin tone going on. I'm not sure if my light might be washing it out a little bit. There we go. Yeah, it's given her skin a kind of a suntanned sort of look, which I was really happy with. I think she turned out really well. So there we go, that is from Christine Karen, Sweet Temptation, a freebie download, and I will link the download in the description as well if anybody wants that one to colour in. It is a really fun one to do. Next we have another Colouring Heaven. This is Fantasy Figures Special, Colouring Heaven, and there's 2 that I did in this one this month. This is the first one that I did, and this is another sort of challenge for the Colour It In Challenges Facebook group. And the challenge was to colour a picture that depicted mothers and families, because Mother's Day, I think in the US or maybe Europe, is in May. I'm not sure, because UK we've already had it. I think it was March or something this year. But yeah, this was for Mother's Day, and this is the one that I ended up doing. This one is my usual kind of marker base, we can see there, and you can see lots of paper collage there. Yeah, I really went to town on this one and it was really fun. Marker base and pencil shading on most of it. These parts here are Dovecraft glitter glue, and that was because it's sort of a bit of a mistake. I used the wrong kind of pink here that really didn't match in with the rest of the picture, so I covered it with this kind of very light purple glitter, and that's really worked quite well, I think, actually, with the pink undercoat and like the really pale sort of lavender glitter on top. It's really worked quite well. A lot of this is paper collage because there were bubbles drawn in the background, and to be honest I couldn't figure out how to draw them, so I ended up cutting out the spaces in the magazine and sticking the paper behind it with this kind of galaxy effect going on, which I thought fitted in quite well, because this part of the page was actually printed with like the clouds and the stars and the sky, so I thought, okay, this will match in quite well with that, and I think that worked quite well. The baby shawl here, that I tried to make that look like collage. That's actually a marker base with shading and white gel pen around the edges, just to try and make it look as if it's collaged on, which I think works quite well. And that's another technique I think I might play with in the future, because I think that's quite effective. It does actually look as if it's collaged on, but it's not. We do have white gel pen, we have gold Sharpie for her ribbon, and for this jewellery I've just done gold Sharpie and kind of did a little cheaty kind of gold by shading it with a dark brown and giving it some white highlights. And yeah, that's about all there is to say about that one. Oh, there's a little stick-on crystal there just for her earrings as well. And that one was really fun to do. I really enjoyed doing that one. There we go. And the other one that I did is towards the front. Here we are. This is the other one that I did, and this is for my tutorial video for colouring dark skin tone using purple as a base. And this is the lady that we coloured for that video there. And I just went ahead and coloured the rest of the picture, and I can see that I've missed a bit there. I've missed a piece of her necklace. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and fill that in. But yeah, this is the lady that we did. This kind of gold background is gold gouache paint. This pink is a pink acrylic paint marker, which I thought toned in quite well with all these kind of tropical colours I was trying to use. I tried to make it look quite fresh and tropical and sort of fitting in with my Earth Day theme, I hope. Really bright. The rest of her is a marker base. Yeah, usual marker base, apart from the flowers and her skin. The rest of it has a marker base, and then my usual Castle Arts Arteza pencils on top. I did go in with a fine liner and draw this pattern onto her dress. Like, this was just plain originally. I drew in this pattern of like tropical leaves on her dress. So yeah, I'm really quite happy with that one, how she turned out as well. It was really nice to use these super bright colours actually. I've just adjusted the light there, so hopefully we're not getting as much glare now, but it was really nice to use these super bright colours. A bit more of a rainbow effect than I usually have going on in my colourings, but yeah, that was really fun. And yep, there we go. That is my second one from Fantasy Figures Special Colouring Heaven by Maud Lamoine. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but yeah, that one is by Maud Lamoine. The next one I have is another one to go with my Earth Day theme. This is the Tarot Colouring Book, illustrated by Alexis E.Thomson. And I have been really wanting to try and start something in this book. It's just been a little bit intimidating. The pictures are gorgeous though. I can find the one I did. Here we go. This is the one I did. The World, which I thought was really fitting for Earth Day. And to be honest, this one was a bit of a challenge for me because I don't really colour trees. I do not like colouring trees. And leaves, this leaf, I'm not sure what it is. A fern. Depicted as a circular leaf. This is a fern around the outside, and yeah, that was a bit of a challenge to keep myself going with that one. It does look really good now it's done, but yeah, it was very challenging to do this one. It's mostly, I think, just a pencil. There's the marker base on the moths and on the trunk of the tree. And this is a gold Sharpie for this ribbon here, and for this, I'm not exactly sure what it is, like a plaque with a number on. That's gold Sharpie. This gold on the earth for these little stones, I think they're supposed to be, that's a gold gel pen. The leaves of the tree, I actually found out this book actually works using super tips as watercolour by colouring onto the page and then using water on top to dissolve the ink into like watercolour. So I played about with that with the leaves for a bit and just shaded it with the darker greens and black. Put a few white highlights on there. Yep, the frame around the actual card and the lettering, the world there, that's gold gouache paint. I made a kind of marble effect. I was playing around because I was having trouble sticking to doing the leaves, and I really don't like moths. Anyone who knows me knows I have a phobia of moths. And I tried to get through it by pretending they were butterflies. I'm not quite sure how well that worked because it was still a struggle. But anyway, I had to keep having little breaks and moving on to do something else, like a bit of moth, a bit of leaf, a bit of lettering. And I did this marble effect behind the lettering there to kind of, yeah, distract myself a little bit, I think. But yeah, I think it's all worked out quite well in the end. These pictures are gorgeous. They're really super detailed, and I think they will take like ages to do. This one did take ages to do. I think I started it at the beginning of the month and didn't finish it until the end. I had to keep putting it away and going doing something else and coming back to it. That's the one that I did in the Tarot Colouring Book by Alexis E.Thomson. Next we have Colouring Heaven Alice in Wonderland Special. And the one I coloured in here was this one. And this one was for the tutorial I did on how to colour black hair using a marker base. A Prussian blue marker base. So there's a tutorial on that one on the channel. You can look up if you're interested. And everything else, mainly, yep, marker base. And your marker base with the pencil shading on top. There's gold Sharpie for her jewellery there, just my lazy gold again, gold Sharpie shaded with the dark brown, giving little white highlights with the gel pen. More gold Sharpie for her jewellery and her headband there. These kind of club symbols here I did with metallic watercolours, just to try them out really, to see what the black looked like, and it seems to work quite well. It is really shiny in the light, you can see that. I used a little bit of watercolour pencil for this sort of parchment colour shading on these ribbons. And this pattern down the side is paper collage, where I think what I did was cut along the edge of her face there, and then just lift that up so I could slide the kind of collage underneath and stick it on top of the paper with just her face coming out over the top, and the same the other side with her hair. And I hadn't tried that technique before. It worked all right actually, and just to cover up the background, because I couldn't figure out what was going on in the background, to be perfectly honest. I think her cloak was kind of swirling around, but it seemed to be coming like up and down at the same time, and I couldn't make head nor tails of it, so I thought, well, that's fine, I'll just kind of cover it up. And I went with sort of an evil queen vibe for her, because she looked kind of sassy, confident, sort of evil queen vibes going on. So I went with that and tried to keep a sort of dark, somber colours with green and red, kind of a Disney villain sort of thing going on. And yeah, she was really fun to do. And that one is from Alice in Wonderland Special Colouring Heaven by Eeva Nikunen. The next one is from this Chinese book, which the name I've written down, the name is Ancient Beauty, but I could be wrong on that. I do not speak Chinese or Japanese or whatever languages this is. I don't speak it. But this is the book that is from. That's the barcode info for anyone who wants to look it up. And this was actually a whip that I worked on and finished. This was the whip that I was going to be filming for last Wednesday, but I had trouble with the tablet, so filming didn't happen. And this was the picture that you would have seen finished. She originally had her marker base done. She had this washi tape stuck down, and I think that was about it. And I think I'd left her for quite a while because the marker base on this paper turned out really splotchy. And I think when I did it, which was at least a year ago, maybe 2, I didn't have the skills to fix that and sort it out. So I just went on top and fixed all that. There is a little bit of glitter on her top. I think this is metallic watercolour for these edges around her. Is it a kimono? For her edges around her dress, kimono, robe. That was already done there. And I just basically shaded to kind of smooth out the marker base. On these kind of blue parts of her sleeves, I'm not exactly sure what I'd done, but I think I might have dabbed on some white gouache with a sponge to try and give it this sort of mottled effect, just to try and disguise that splotchiness of the marker. That was already done as well, so I'm not entirely sure what I did there, to be perfectly honest. I just shaded on top of what was already there, added some white gel pen, went around the edges. There's some paper collage here on the belt and on these ribbons for her hair. There is that is the cutting out the shape from the paper and sticking it down, and this part is cutting out the part of the page and then sticking the paper behind it. So both techniques there used in the same page. And there's gold Sharpie for this ribbon here, some gold gel pen for her crown, and I drew in this square, just measured out the square, drew that in with a gold Sharpie around the outside. And this is just tinted with coffee, just instant coffee dissolved in water and then just painted on like watercolour to give this kind of tea stain, or coffee stain rather, colour in the background, sort of like ancient Chinese painting along those lines, I was thinking. I don't know, but it seemed to fit in, and it kind of matched in with this kind of gold colour I had going on here. So yeah, I went with that. Seemed to all match in together. So yeah, it was nice to get that whip done. That's been hanging around for a couple of years. It's finally finished. So there we go. That is from the Chinese book Ancient Beauty, I think is what it's called, that one. And there we go. The next one is one that I filmed. This book is called Girls with Flowers. I think it's a Korean colouring book. I grabbed it from Book Depository before it actually closed last week, and I saw it on someone else's flip through on YouTube, and I thought, oh, that is a gorgeous book, I must have it. So I managed to grab it off Book Depository before it closed, and I started in it with my watercolours. I'm sorry, I don't know who the artist is. That is the barcode information there, if anybody's interested. But it is a really gorgeous book, and I want to work in it mainly with watercolours, I think, and this is the first one that I have attempted. And this is pretty much all on film, besides about an hour where my tablet was playing up again, and I was fighting with it to get anything filmed. But yeah, this is pretty much all watercolours, with a little bit of pencil shading, I think, just for contrast in her hair, and a little bit on the shadows on her clothes. There's white gel pen and a little bit of gold gel pen just for the centres of the flowers. This is metallic watercolour, just a cheap metallic watercolour set from B&M. If anybody lives in the UK, yeah, they're from B&M. They're really good, I think, and fairly cheap as well. So yeah, I recommend those. Do I have it to hand? This is not the same one. This is the blue one. But yeah, there's Deco Time watercolour, metallic watercolour, really good. I recommend those. And they do come with a water brush as well, although I don't really use water brushes, so I can't tell you how good those are. This is my attempt at watercolours in this book. And the paper did take it quite well, apart from this little area here where I think I went a bit too enthusiastic with my water there, and it has buckled quite a lot. So yep, I have learned my lesson to be really sparing with my water if I do continue to use watercolour in this book, which I think I probably will. So yeah, I think that ended up working really well, and it's such a nice book to work into. These pictures are gorgeous, and I do hope to work some more in that one. So there we go, that is Girls with Flowers. Again, I'm not sure of the artist, but if anybody does know, we can pop it into the comments, and then we will all know who the artist is. And the last one that I actually finished this month is from this one. I'll probably have to zoom us in. Here we go. This is Gothic Minis by Selina Fenech. And this is one that I just picked up while I was sitting on the sofa. My son was playing on the Xbox and I was a bit bored, so I picked up this one and a random coloured pencil. And I ended up colouring this one just with one coloured pencil. I think it was a Tesco Go Create brown coloured pencil, and I ended up colouring this one with that and just a white gel pen. That's all there is to it, really. Just a quick, simple one to do while I was bored one evening, and there you go. I think she has turned out quite well. It's something I do like to do, is colour pictures like that with just one colour. From Gothic Minis by Selina Fenech. There we go, and that's the last one that I finished this month. This last one is the whip that I have going on at the end of the month, and this is also another reason why this video is late this month, because I got really into this picture, really preoccupied with doing it. I couldn't put it down. I really love this book, so yeah, thank you to Amberly Silencia who enabled this one, because I bought it after watching her video where she was doing a colour along with one of the pictures in here, and yeah, I really thought this book was amazing, so I ended up buying it. And there's actually no hidden objects in this one, which is another good reason for me to buy it. And I ended up starting this one here, this turtle here, and I am really pleased with how he's coming along. This is just colour pencils, Castle Arts and Arteza. Yeah, I'm really happy with the colour combos I've got going on there. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of it, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to maybe bring in some blues into there somewhere, maybe a little bit of green. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that one's going on there, and I'll be carrying on working on that through the month of May. And also through the month of May, my theme for the month is going to be ravens, and that is chosen by my other half because they're his favourite animal. So yeah, he's chosen ravens for me to colour in for the month of May, so that will mean probably I'll be colouring some more dark Gothic kind of style pictures, which is great because I love to colour those kind of things, and I'm looking forward to doing that actually, and working on this. I have my work cut out for me through the month of May, I think, but yeah, that's all I managed to colour during the month of April, which is a lot more than I thought I would. Hopefully I'll be able to get a lot done next month as well if work isn't so hectic. And anyway, thank you for watching everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye!